Side of Tiger Park. We are the only remaining people here. Myself, Meagan Glover, Seth Lewis will join us in just a minute. Meagan, I can't even put into words what we just witnessed between Louisiana and LSU.
Well, Jamarcus, you mentioned us being the only people here at Tiger Park shutting the party down, but really it was the Cajuns who would shut the party down and rain on LSU's parade.
They absolutely would. Now, if you saw in our 5:30 newscast, UL would force a Game 7 by winning Game 6 7-4. They originally fell behind 4-1 in that contest, but then would rattle off 6 unanswered runs to win the ball game. Jordan Campbell was one of the big catalysts behind that victory. Meagan, you got a chance to talk with her. What were some of the things that you heard?
She was saying that she noticed what type of balls that the pitcher was sending to her, and she got up underneath it. But, I mean, you talk about her being a catalyst. She had 2 home runs on the day. The first one was actually a 3-run blast in Game 1, and she just kept that same energy going in Game 2, where she would get a grand slam, that ball hitting right off the foul pole.
Now, when we talked to Jerry Glasgow the night before, one of the many things that he talked about was his team just coming in, playing great defense, and getting timely hitting. They absolutely did that, being able to spark several runs, of just putting up runs at the right time to be able to eventually get in front of LSU. Now, don't get me wrong, the Tigers put up a fight, because in Game 7, UL would go up 6-0 after a Jordan Campbell grand slam. They would go up 6-0, but then LSU would go on a run of their own, scoring 7 unanswered.
Absolutely. You talked about timely hitting for the Cajuns, and obviously LSU responding in a big way there in the second frame, 6 runs of their own. But we got to talk about the defense as well, circling back to that, led by Maya Davis at center field, Lauren Allred at first, and just all around a team effort, all around the infield and outfield, you know.
Now, when we talked to no doubt about it, when we also talked to Jerry Glasgow after the game, he was extremely emotional talking about this victory, because he mentioned about Gail Savoy, the wife of the president of UL, who has passed away, and he also mentioned about his late daughter. One of the many things that touches close to home to him are about people that have poured into this program and just how much it meant to finally get this victory. And in that same breath of him shedding a few tears, we also got a few laughs when he mentioned about Regional Glasgow.
Definitely. I want to circle back to that, because, Jamarcus, when we left from the upper deck of watching the game and we got a little closer and closer as the game went on, we were in the midst of the Vermilion and White fans, and you could just feel the emotion that they were feeling, counting down to the final 3 outs of the game there. And obviously you mentioned Gail Savoy, and a lot of the UL players have that patch on their jersey for her, so rightfully very emotional in that moment as well. But yes, he talked about being Regional Glasgow, coming into the program back a couple years ago, and he has a big chip on his shoulder, and he says, look, we're going to get out of the regionals. And unfortunately, that wasn't the game plan, but that all stirred up to this moment. It's the Cajuns' first super regional appearance since 2016.
No doubt about it. Now, ironically enough, the Cajuns were extremely close to actually being able to host a super regional. They needed a little bit of help from in-state rival McNeese, who was playing in Seattle against Washington as the number 7 seed. The Cowgirls had them on the ropes. They were up 6-0. They got to the top of the 7th, and they would give up 7 runs to eventually lose that ball game. The Cowgirls going on a magical run in that regional, but just not able to get it done to give us that 3-3-7 super regional like we wanted.
And look, shout out to Louisiana sports, right? Obviously, the 2 in-state rivalries here between LSU, UL, and McNeese, and unfortunately allowing 7 runs there late to lose out there at Washington. So it'll be the Cajuns who will be heading to Seattle, Washington for their super regional.
No doubt about it. Now, we have our third sports team member, Seth Lewis, who is here with us. He's going to join us. He's off camera right now. And now we have him here with us. Seth, obviously, we were all here having the opportunity to see this. Just what was your take on this game, and what did you see?
Well, obviously, it was a whole lot of resiliency that you have, being able to build a 6-0 lead, right? And then they score 7 straight. A lot of teams would fold under those circumstances. But this team has seen a lot this year. And I think one of the performances that really impressed me was freshman Chloe Riochetto. This is someone who really hasn't pitched a lot, when talking about the last few months in Sun Belt play. For her to come and pitch 3 very pivotal innings to get them this win, getting the final out in this game, I think that just speaks to how everybody on this team has bought in to being available, being ready when their number is called. Jordan Campbell, you mentioned her having the grand slam. She's someone that hasn't been starting in necessarily every game, but for her to come up so big, 5 RBI in the contest to push them to their first Super Regional since 2016, the first in the Jerry Glasgow era. I mean, what more can you say?
And I want to cut in talking about Chloe there, Chloe Riosado, because this is a place that she is familiar with. And head coach Jerry Glasgow told us earlier in the season that she is somebody that he trusts putting into those sticky situations. Well, I don't think the situation could have been as stickier as it was in this situation. And of course, a very tough environment, but she was able to get the job done and shut the door.
No doubt about it. So the Cajuns will be moving on to their first Super Regional since 2016. They'll be heading up to Washington. That's going to do it for sports for the entire sports team. I'm Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, and we'll send it back to you.